Go Jackers.
Hello all and welcome to WreckTalk. So, last video we talked about tech being $300 million in debt, which doesn't feel great at all. Today we're going to talk about the new budget it looks like they're going to pass, as well as a few other things. Before we get into that, if you're not a member of the channel, please consider joining. There's a join button right under the title of the video. Other ways to help support the channel, there is a PayPal and a CashApp link in the description of the video. And a good free way to help is just to watch the entire video and give it a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. So, let me pull up my other screen here. Man, why is it so off-centered? Let's fix that immediately. So, this has been delayed. Let's see what it says. Georgia Tech athletic budget approval delayed. The Georgia Tech Athletic Board of Trustees held its fourth and final meeting for the 2022-2023 cycle inside Bobby Dodd Stadium Tuesday. They are proposing the largest athletic budget in Georgia Tech history. Somewhere between 124 and 128 million. Now, this might seem counterintuitive, seeing as how it looks like we're in a good deal of debt. But if we're going to be competitive, a competitive program, and I'm just looking at football because that's the one that brings in the money that funds everything else, except maybe, basketball. We're going to have to spend more money. Now, I was already surprised to see that Georgia Tech is third in total recruiting budget in the ACC, behind only Clemson and North Carolina. So Clemson's number one, and Tech and North Carolina right head-to-head at 2 and 3. I think we're spending just under $1.3 million in recruiting budget. So that's good. That's definitely something that needs to turn around. We'll talk about that toward the end of the video. But it is the largest budget proposed in Georgia Tech history. Now, how does that compare to budgets we've had before? So let's go back. This is a From the Rumble Seat article. I'll link both of these in the description. One of them's an AJC article. You need a subscription. Don't get me started on why you would have a subscription model when you could just have advertisers foot the bill. But in the past 14 years, as far as athletic budgets are concerned, we've had a 166% increase. Tech has only increased their budget about 98%. So we're behind the ball. The last one I see, Georgia Tech's athletic budget was $86 million, which was about 34 below the median at the time. So from what I can see, this brings us just a slightly above average for 2019. Now, obviously, I'll try to explain this in case there's any Georgia or Clemson fans watching. See how the line keeps going up? I assume that trend's going to continue. In fact, I could do some math and figure out where it should be now. I imagine it's let's just get an idea. Every 2 years, it looks like you get about a $20 million increase or so in the past 3 or 4 years. So we're probably slightly below average from what I see on the chart. I would think the average budget now is probably around 130 to 140 million. Our new budget is somewhere between 124 and 128, but it's moving in the right direction. Again, this is a pay-to-play college football world, not just for this whole NIL thing I don't really want to get into in this video, but if you are going to be competitive in big-time football, you just got to spend a lot of money to do so. So, I think this is part of J-Bat earning his keep. I think he's doing this knowing that he's got a good bit of donor backing that he didn't have before, and probably some new donors, maybe even some that he brought in from his contacts being at Alabama for so long. Also says that we're keeping Danny Hall, obviously. I know some people have been frustrated with him. I'm not a baseball guy, so I'm not, the most educated guy to ask. But we will be keeping him. And I want you to look at this. So it says, BAT announced that the number of season tickets sold for the 2023 Tech football season has already surpassed that total sold at this point in 2022. Now, that shouldn't be that difficult to do, and I wish it would say by how much have we surpassed it. I would think the season ticket sales at Georgia Tech last year were probably among the worst in history. But it is, suffice to say, it's good to see season ticket sales are going up. I do think from all the Tech faithful that I've talked at, from everyone except one that I see in the comment section is really excited about Key. And I'll put it this way. I think I've said it before. I think if Key wouldn't have been hired as the head coach, I guarantee you Kirby Smart would have offered him a position on his staff, and he'd probably end up back at Alabama, because I can't see Key ever working for the University of Georgia, given his innate hatred of them and beating them every year he ever started. So just wanted to go through that. Things are looking up as far as how much money we have to be competitive. Now, what percentage of that is going to debt? Well, if yesteryears or anything to go by, 14% of that will be going to debt. So that would be anyway. I mean, 10% of it would be about 12 million. So add another half, about 20 million of that will be going to just paying off debt. So we've got to get that underway as well. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but all of the sudden, Georgia Tech's winning some recruiting battles against teams we don't usually win recruiting battles against. So Trey Horn, he's a 3-star athlete out of Rabun Gap, Georgia. This is the same area, not the same team that like Gunnar Stockton, the quarterback for UGA, came out of, who I do think is the best quarterback they have on their roster. But like always, Georgia won't start the best quarterback on their roster. We got him in a battle with Florida State and NC State. Now, this Landon Marshall kid, his nickname is Meat, and he is a beefy fella out of Andalusia, Alabama. This kid looks like a stud. I think last weekend or weekend before, whatever the weekend before or few that he came to Tech, he was at Auburn, and I was looking at some of his pictures. Like, this kid is a beast. This kid makes me think of the Derek Morgans of the world, the Roman Reignses of the world, Michael Johnson's, just some kids. We need another dominant defensive lineman, Keon White, like that. And I think he could be it. We won him in a recruiting battle against LSU and Arkansas. So all of a sudden, Key is really dialing up the recruiting at Tech. See, it's now Rivals has Georgia Tech at 35th in the country, 8th in the ACC. Now, that sounds pretty bad, but I actually think that's pretty good considering we have a brand new head coach, brand new staff, coming off the worst 3 seasons in the history of Georgia Tech football. we got something cooking all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen. Bring the hot stuff. So, On 3 has us 48th and 11th in the ACC. Now, here's another thing. It says Georgia Tech is welcoming a big list of visitors this weekend. 4-star athlete Kalen Fox. He's a tight end, and he is coming. So he's coming this weekend, but he was supposed to go to Miami afterward. Like, I don't know if it was the next weekend or weekend after that. Now that he's coming to Georgia Tech this weekend, he said, I'm not taking my official visit to Miami anymore, which is the biggest no-brainer of all time. Miami's an absolutely horrible school and just a general area that I have no respect for. So I'm glad to hear, obviously trash talk, but Miami's generally someone we don't win recruiting battles against either. We don't win recruiting battles against most people. Usually what happens is we'll identify like a 3-star kid as being kind of undervalued and really talented, and then toward the end of the recruiting cycle, the Georgias, the LSUs, the Alabamas of the world will evaluate him, and then lo and behold, he's a 4-star all of a sudden, and we'll lose him. But just a quick overview of our 2024 commits. Jakari Williams, obviously, is not in the class anymore. And I'll be honest with you, what I think happened with that is that, you know, after evaluating, like Winky and Buster Faulkner evaluating him, we're like, yeah, this kid's not 4-star billing. Let's go get someone who's a better fit. Like, this guy's a little overvalued. Which is something Jeff Collins would never do, ever. He would just be like, oh, stars. Stars! He's like Mario from the video game, just collecting stars. But anyways, let's see. Santana Alo Tapola, interior offensive lineman. We definitely need offensive linemen. That's definitely been a target for Key in last class and this. Jordan Boyd, defensive end linebacker combo. DeMontre Gadsden, the linebacker. I think he's out of South Carolina. Taj Butler, linebacker. So, again, trying to – I think that Braylon Oliver and I know Andre White only has 1 year of eligibility, and Braylon Oliver, I think, does too. So we're going to be in the same position next year trying to replace linebackers. Aaron Philo at quarterback. I really, really like this kid. I know he's playing at Prince Avenue. The level of competition isn't what you're going to see in like 5, 6, what do you call it? Like star. It's not star, but that level of play. But he is on track to break Trevor Lawrence's all-time passing yardage record this year. In the state of Georgia. So he's doing something right and doing a lot of it. And he just seems like a really good fit for Georgia Tech. He's actively recruiting for us. That's a big deal. And I think that's 100% Buster Faulkner right there. William DePepe, defensive end. Trey Horn, that's the athlete we just signed. And Landon Marshall, the defensive tackle we just signed. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got something cooking. In Atlanta, Georgia. Brent Key is the chef. Talk to you guys later.